action. Oh, feels good to get the Vantage up to temperature. This thing is an absolute weapon, and I still have to pinch myself when I look out the window, see the Ferrari and the Aston Martin parked next to each other. And to think the Lamborghini is still at Barkways, nearly finished, and then that's going to join the crew as well. I will do a video, Vantage versus 458, because they're in the same price bracket, but totally different cars. But today, I'm getting my first look at the 2020 Land Rover Defender. I've not seen the car before, and I'll be honest, I haven't made up my mind as to how I think it looks in comparison to the iconic original Defender. But today, we've got the opportunity of going between two Grange dealerships. The Land Rover dealership in Barnet, which I've never been to before, and then we're going to Grange Aston Martin Hatfield because they've got the Aston Martin DBX for the first time. So two highly talked about SUVs, having the opportunity of seeing them back to back, and whilst doing so, having a good spin in the Aston Martin Vantage. It's going to be a good day, and I think today, even though there's not much driving involved, especially with the Defender and the DBX, I'm going to be driving the Vantage. I think it's going to be quite a good video. I've parked the Aston Martin up. It's a little bit windy. I've taken over the front line here at Land Rover, and I'm going to come around the side. The Defender is then in there, and the event has just started, but it is very, very busy. But I am very excited to show you this old Defender that has got a pizza oven in the back. This is the coolest modified Defender I've ever seen. How cool is that? We start the video with an old school Defender because I'm going to have a pizza out the back of it. Here is the 2020 Land Rover Defender in all of its glory, in quite a off-road spec, I'm going to call this. I'm sure there is an actual manufacturer name for the spec list on what this car has, because it has got like a massive roof rack. It's got like a ladder on the side here. It's got a huge wheel at the back. And this is literally the first time that I'm seeing a Defender in the flesh. And I have to say, whilst the old Defender is quite an iconic and boxy design, this captures that, especially with this rear shoulder here. Like, look how much it just cuts off. The rear just stops there. I love this line. It's super aggressive, but it still has a 2020 feel about it. It still feels and looks modern. And inside, yeah, I think it's looking pretty good. There are a lot of customers here. The event has only been going on for about 10 minutes, and there are a lot of potential customers, people probably with deposits down as well. Have a look at it from the front. I was a little bit unsure about the design when it was launched, but actually in this spec, it makes sense. I think it looks really, really cool, and I can imagine these smashing around on some country B roads out in the Cotswolds. I love the bonnet design here. It's really quite cool. And also, I've just been told that it's from 45 grand. It's actually not an expensive car. It's quite cheap. And to think that there is a lot of hype around this car, a lot of people have orders down on it, and a lot of people are excited about it, and to think it's a 45 grand SUV, but because of that name there, it is iconic. And I think from this angle, it's my favourite. And also, this showroom is very, very cool. We've got a satin grey Range Rover Sport SVR, and we've also got a Velar SVO here with like the largest ever OEM exhaust tips ever seen on an SUV, but in all black. It looks really cool, and parked next to the SVR in satin grey. Look how aggressive that looks. I love the new bonnet on the SVR. Very, very cool. Not exposed carbon like Archie's, but very, very cool nonetheless. And I'm getting excited about SUVs, so something is changing. But I love this front three-quarter. Very, very... Is that a snorkel? Let's have a look if it's actually operational. Yep, everything about this. Oh, look at it. It's running Michelins. Of course it is. This is the ultimate off-road car. It needs the ultimate off-road tyres. Of course it runs Michelins. But let's jump back in the Vantage, head over to Grange Aston Martin Hatfield, check out the DBX, compare the two. I mean, they're totally different price brackets. I did not realise this started at 45 grand. First editions are around 62 spec'd up, but obviously DBX is 158, so a completely different market, but I guarantee both popular nonetheless. And yeah, this is, hands down, my favourite angle right here. So I'm going to hold the camera here and then cut to me in the Vantage. This is probably one of the first times, if not the first time, that I've been to a dedicated Land Rover Jaguar dealership. And there are SVRs everywhere. It's very cool. But that event was so busy. I was amazed at how much interest that car has generated. Obviously, the old Defender is iconic. This is going to be interesting. Try to squeeze out. There you go. You got it. Parking sensors go mental. The old Defender is so iconic and people don't like change. Like when the new G-Wagon came out, everyone was a little bit tentative about whether to touch it or not. Then they realised that it was actually a really wicked car and a massive improvement on the old one. But it still had the characteristics of the old G-Wagon with the door shut and the rake of the windscreen. Whereas the Defender still has a lot of interest, even though the original one is so iconic. I think that's quite amazing and also important, especially for Defender and the Land Rover brand. So onwards to the DBX now. I think that has made more of an impression on me for seeing it for the first time, because photos definitely don't do it justice. I think that's the one thing that I can take away from seeing the Defender. Photos don't do it justice. Seeing it in the flesh makes a massive difference. Here we are then, Aston Martin Hatfield, and I've parked my Vantage up. That's a 600 LT Spider, gets manoeuvred over there, but check out, hands down, the biggest spec Aston Martin Vantage I have seen. This is the 2020 year model, meaning that you can spec these carbon fibre bonnet vents, I was going to say air vents, bonnet vents on the Vantage, making it a little bit more aggressive and also covering that large surface area that the bonnet has. If you look at my car, without the carbon vents, that looks much better. It's got carbon fibre everywhere. Front splitter, £2,500 carbon badges, carbon fibre there, carbon fibre, Aston Martin centre on the alloys, carbon fibre there, carbon fibre, carbon fibre, carbon fibre. And have a look at how cool the paint is. I don't know whether you can see the glisten, but against the sun, it's got the darkened taillights as well from the back with the carbon fibre diffuser. How cool does that look? This is an Aston Martin car. And don't know whether you can see the badge there, but very, very cool. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to flick the microphone round and give you a point of view look at the Aston Martin DBX that is taking centre stage here at Aston Martin Hatfield. There is something quite exciting about seeing the DBX in this showroom, something that I'm so familiar with, but next to its siblings. We've got DBS, DB11 and DBX. This is going to be our reality now for the next 5, 6, 7 years, however long production lasts for DBX. And as you can see, it is incredibly busy. There is a lot of hype around this car. When I was at the Defender launch, I was like, okay, that's a £45,000 to £60,000 car. Of course, there are going to be a lot of people that are coming to check it out, a lot of people that have got deposits on. But this, at £158,000, still has as much excitement and as much hype around, even in this current climate where we actually have no idea what's going on with Brexit. But as you can see, salesmen incredibly busy. But obviously, we've seen this specification up at Milton Keynes at Red Bull HQ, but seeing it in different light, it's almost closer to the natural light here, sat here with the sun starting to shine now. But seeing it here in the showroom underneath this light is totally different to how it was manufactured at Red Bull. So to see it with all of its carbon fibre glory along the front here, I still love these Zagato style LEDs. So cool. There's a lot of interest around this car. They've got all of the statistics here as well. Prices start from £158,000, available to order now. I don't know when one would turn up if you were to order it now, but one thing that I've picked up seeing it here is how much bigger it looks. When it's parked next to DB11 and DBS, it is a large car, but it's still quite low slung. It's still quite low slung. If you see these gentlemen here and their height versus how low slung the DBX is, and also as I was coming around this side, I've just noticed that there is this, an Aston Martin Vantage AMR, and this is the best spec'd one I have seen. Illuminous yellow details, illuminous yellow brake calipers as well, but obviously it has got a manual gearbox and 3 pedals, all blacked out. Very, very cool. And right here, I do believe this is the Aston Martin DBX configurator. Can I take control of this? Let's see if it works. Look, I am controlling it. Hold on, I'm going to zoom in. I hope I haven't cancelled someone's specification, but I just confirmed DBX. Oh my god, I could have a lot of fun with this. Lime green? Yeah. Do paint protection film from factory. Black wheels, obviously. What's this? Brake calipers. Yep. Black brake calipers. Don't need tyre repair kit. Oh yes, here we go. Gloss black on all of the... Oh, there we go. That is a lime green DBX with the black pack, with the AMR style, satin black wheels. I mean, that's quite punchy. All it needs now is tints and then we're good to go. That is very cool. And I think I was just interrupting someone putting a DBX deposit down. But, I mean, back to back, Defender and DBX in one video. Two of the most hyped and talked about SUVs hitting the market. And look at that. Absolutely beautiful. This is my favourite angle here, around here. But the front end, all of these lines look much better in this natural light than underneath the lights that I saw at Milton Keynes. Oh man, I'm in love. And it's a little bit sad that I'm not going to be able to afford one of these. But maybe I can persuade the guys at Grange to swap my Aston Martin Vantage for one of these one day. Still think they could do a little bit more of the interior. Love the centre screen. Love all of that. Just think the seats need a little bit of love. Oh my god! I cannot believe how busy it has been to see those two cars. But incredibly interesting because there is obviously real hype around these two cars and real excitement about seeing them on the road. And I think, even though that I'd seen DBX already, there was something different about seeing it in a showroom environment up against DBS, DB11 and Vantage, as it was almost being christened into the Aston Martin brand. When you see a car by itself for the display of customers, it's totally different than just there in the showroom. So Defender, very, very cool. I love the spec of it, and I think that is going to sell massively. I really want to drive it as well, because apparently off-road it is an absolute monster. And DBX, I've heard, is very, very capable off-road, but it's actually on-road and on track, where apparently it's as good or close to the Aston Martin Vantage, which is terrifying because this is hands down one of the best super sports cars I've ever driven. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this camera is a little bit wonky, but I will see you soon. Please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and head into the links in the description for anything that you may need or require from Grange, Land Rover, Jaguar, Aston Martin, Bentley, Lamborghini. They've got a whole franchise on the go, with McLaren as well, can't forget McLaren. I'll see you soon, guys. Take care. I'm absolutely exhausted. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.